The final night. I'm one of the very last of my people. By tomorrow we will have vanished from the face of the earth. I write this account in my capacity of being the sacred scribe of the Auroch people. I hope against hope that my words will live on to tell our story, because it's my desire that one day my words will be read by others who care about the history of our disappearance from the face of the three valleys. In the days when the world was simply a void, the great winged Auroch created our land of the three valleys. From the dust of the earth he created the grasses and the trees on the land, with its fruits and its flowers, its birds and its animals. In the three valleys he created the flowing streams with their abundant fish. He said to our ancestors, "You may have these valleys for your homes for all generations. I will provide you with deep caves for shelter from the rains, snows and winds of winter. You may eat all the fruits and berries that I am providing for you. You may hunt the animals and fish in the streams. In the rocks that border your streams I have supplied you with flints. You may shape them to make stick flints for your hunting, and you may beat them together to kindle your fires, so that you may be warmed in the cold of winter. Be sure that you treat each other with kindness and welcome strangers in your midst, sharing all the bounty that I have provided for you. On the day of the year when the sun rises highest in the sky, you shall climb and assemble on the great sacred rock which overlooks all three of your valleys. There you are to offer thanks for all you've been given, with gifts of the bounty of the land. Do this and your women folk will be fruitful, and you will have sons and daughters to follow you through the generations." In memory of these instructions, you shall adorn the walls deep inside your homes with the symbols of the Auroch and other animals. When you hunt them for game, you shall remember that I, the great winged Auroch, have provided them for your sustenance, and give thanks to him. For generation upon generation, from the mists of time, we have followed these teachings, living in peace and harmony. Every year on the day when the sun rises highest in the sky, we have assembled as we were instructed on the great sacred rock that overlooks the three valleys. There we make offering to the great winged Auroch of the first fruits of the year, the edible fern and the strawberry, and consume a sacred meal of one of the year's new Auroch calves. These rituals are made in recognition that we give back to the great winged Auroch a small portion of what we have received from him, in remembrance of his goodness and favour towards us. When the days are long and fruit is plentiful, the sacred artists of our community venture deep into the caves where we sleep at night. In the depths of darkness they make from memory drawings on the walls, images of aurochs and other beasts of the valleys, as the great winged Auroch gave us instruction. Their skill has been passed down in secret through unnumbered generations of sacred artists. No living eye has ever observed the drawings that have thus been created. One evening many moons ago, in the hardest days of winter, when the snow lay deep upon the ground, bending to the ground the branches of the great pines and filling the valleys with silence, there appeared strangers in the valley of the great pine. There were 3 men and a woman, of an unfamiliar countenance. We called them flatheads from the curious flattened appearance of their foreheads. The newcomers were near death from cold and hunger. Although we could not understand their speaking, it was clear that they depended on us for delivery from death. Remembering the command of the great winged Auroch to offer hospitality to strangers, we hurried them to our fire that they might warm themselves, and we shared our food with them. We brought fresh dry skins to replace their soaking raiment, whereupon we observed that in addition to their flat heads, the strangers had an equally curious absence of bodily hair. Their hair was confined to their heads, their underarms, and the region of their creating parts. The flat-headed newcomers stayed with us for more than 2 moons, through the harshest part of winter. And we taught them the skills they needed to live in a land such as ours, sharing all things in common, from food, clothing, and even women folk. On the first day the sun rose higher than the sun pine, in the season when the aurochs give birth to their calves, the flatheads left us. They told us, for by now we'd mastered speech with them, they must return to their own people who lived far away. During succeeding periods of many moons, we encountered flatheads from time to time visiting our valleys. Their hunters had a weapon different from the stick flints that we used to bring down game by throwing. Their weapon combines a shortened stick flint with a bent stick cord, from which the short stick flint can be projected much greater distances than our own short stick flints can be thrown. Gradually, however, the incursions of the flatheads into the 3 valleys became more frequent, and their numbers became greater. We found that the flatheads were not the friendly people we had first imagined when we saved them from death on that initial meeting. They knew nothing of the great winged aurochs' instructions to share, and they soon began to compete for game in the 3 valleys. When they made a kill, they would chase us away rather than sharing the bounty they'd received, using shouts and arms raised in anger. Raiding parties of male hunters would even enter our encampments and make off with such of our young women as they could capture, even though we had in the past freely shared all with them, including our womenfolk. In recent moons, these hostilities have increased to the point that our people can no longer hunt the woods and fish the streams of the 3 valleys in safety, for we are now always in danger of surprise attacks. Many of these attacks have had fatal consequences as time has gone by. In the days of the present moons, following the first rise of the sun over the sun pine, our 3 valleys have been invaded by great parties of warriors, aimed with stick flints and stick cords. They make great angry noises which frightens away the game. They've made it clear that they intend to attack us. We soon began to fear for our lives, for they even directed their short stick flints towards the men of our hunting parties, although at first all our hunters were too far away for their stick flints to reach them. One night, one of our hunting parties far up in the Valley of the Red Stones was encamped in the forest under a tent made of auroch skins. In the darkness, according to the one hunter who escaped to tell the tale, a party of flatheads brought burning torches and set fire to the tent of auroch skins, burning alive all within, save the one who escaped into the darkness of the forest. Since then, many of our number have been ambushed and murdered, including every one of our sacred artists, though they never revealed the nature of their sacred art, nor where it might be found, for fear it would be destroyed. Our children have been butchered most cruelly and without compassion for their young years. We are now the last of our kind, a small band of men and even fewer women and children. It is clear that the flatheads are intent on nothing short of our complete destruction. Even as I write these words, a huge band of warriors has gathered in the Valley of the Red Stones, ready to launch an attack on the remnant of our auroch people tomorrow. We will not permit ourselves to be slaughtered by outsiders. Tonight is the eve of the day when the sun rises highest in the sky. Tomorrow morning, we will climb to the uttermost height of the great sacred rock that overlooks the 3 valleys, our home from generations unimaginable, as we have done each year on this day. When the first rays of sunlight strike the great sacred rock, we will offer our final incantations to the great winged auroch, giving thanks for all he has provided for us down the generations. We will offer praise that we've always followed his rules of life, including the command that we should always treat all others with kindness, though this is hard to do towards the flatheads who are intent on our destruction. Finally, we will cast ourselves down to our deaths on the rocks of the riverbed from the height of the great sacred rock, rather than allow ourselves to fall into the hands of the flatheads who desire our extermination by beating us to death. The night is nearly over. First streaks of orange are lighting the eastern sky along the valley of the great pines. This account of the last days of our kind must be hidden away before the sun rises, lest it be destroyed by the Flathead people. Maybe, and this is my hope, it will be found one day by others, so they will learn the story of how the Auroch people met their end.